Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream on this lovely Monday. Oh my God, it's not a Monday. It's a Tuesday. That's the best news I've heard all week. Okay, awesome. Welcome, regardless of the day of the week. My name is Josh, and I've got my finger on the pulse of music. That's right. Today is the closing stream of Pride Month. Yes, I missed the first 2 weeks. I'm moving. I've got a lot going on. I was in Paris for a while. We are closing it out with a bang, regardless of coming in like a lamb, to mix metaphors, so to speak. In honor of Pride Month and our final Pride stream, I've got a beautiful playlist here of queer, trans, non-binary artists or members of bands, and it's going to be pretty badass, pretty awesome. Really excited for this one. This is going to be a kind of a very personal stream for me. When we hit one of these artists, I kind of have a bit of a story to tell about my journey of accepting queerness in my life as an identity. And I feel like that will be something I'm looking forward to, and hopefully will color some of these tracks in a fun way. And like always, I'm going to be rating all of these tracks with my scale of a flat line, meaning not for me, resting heart rate, meaning I think it's pretty okay, and off the charts heart rate, which is like, oh, the piece de la resistance. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Now I want to put all these artists, I want to lift all these artists up in honor of Pride Month. I want folks to check them out. I want to boost their signal. These guys are making awesome music and doing really badass stuff, being openly queer and in a world that is increasingly challenging to do so. That being said, I'm gonna be honest. So if I don't like these tracks, I'm still gonna say it. Even if I end up not liking some of these songs, maybe someone else will, right? And maybe we can all kind of keep that in mind as we share and listen to music in general. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified about what I'm reacting to next. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok at The Pulse of Music on both platforms. And a little tradition we usually do before we get started is to go over the playlist a little bit. We got 48 minutes of songs tonight, from 2 songs from each artist. We're going to go old then new for each one. Some of them come from the same album, so that's not, it's more just order of album appearance. But for everything else, we're going to go do the older song first, the newer song second, see how the artist has evolved in the process. And one thing we like to do is pre-pick what song we're going to enjoy the most from tonight. And for me, I mean, I know a lot of these songs, but I'm going to go all the way to the bottom because I don't know this band, Pupil Slicer. It's not a band I've heard before, but they seem to be potentially pretty badass. And we got one 6-minute song and one nearly 4-minute song. I'm going to make a bold prediction and pick this 6-minute Pupil Slicer song. Something tells me I think they might be onto something. So we'll see if I'm right. Feel free to put in the chat whatever you think your top song of the night is going to be. So let's get into the playlist. No reason to wait. Let's go ahead and start with Stand Atlantic. And that's a band that I really like. And have been really excited by for a while. I've seen them in concert. They are from Sydney, Australia, so coming all the way over the pond. Really the opposite pond that we normally talk about. And they're on some really cool stuff. That being said, I don't know. They've been releasing some new singles recently. They're kind of prepping for a new album cycle. And I haven't heard it. So we're going to start with Familiar Territory, which is one of my favorite Stand Atlantic songs, one of their oldest bangers that I think Stand Atlantic fans love through and through. It's Lavender Bones. Let's check it out.
Yeah. empty habits leading to the selfish havoc. I'm lonely in my own bones. You're unweaving where you stand, stitch me into all your plans, just like a cherry stone. Temporary fleeting thrills keep me bruised and make me ill. My skin has lavender tones. Tell me I'm a loaded gun, tie me up and come undone. I could cover it up, I could cover it up, I could cover it up, I could cover it up. I know I'm out on my depth, but I just float in it. I'm trying to do my best, I'm picking fights with it. I wanna be upset, you're not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. And try to speak my mind, wish it was by design. And I can only confess to having doubts with it. Don't wanna feel regret, I'm not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. Spending time with or without you, cutting corners just to get you out of my goddamn mind. Keep your words from where they're brewing. I want something worth pursuing. Still letting you curl my spine. Temporary fleeting thrills keep me bruised and make me ill. My lonely lavender bones tell me how to hurt for fun. Tie me up and come undone. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. I know I'm out on my depth, but I just float in it. I'm trying to do my best, I'm picking fights with it. I wanna be upset, you're not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. And try to speak my mind, wish it was by design. And I can only confess to having doubts with it. Don't wanna feel regret, I'm not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. What have I done? Chewing on my words, nothing's enough. I raise myself in the dirt, sold all my time to a plastic ecstasy. Nothing's enough. I know I'm out of my depth, but I just float in it. I'm trying to do my best, I'm picking fights with it. I wanna be upset, you're not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up. And try to speak my mind, wish it was by design. And I can only confess to having doubts with it. Don't wanna feel regret, I'm not alright with it. I could cover it up, I could cover it up.
Boom, there we go. Lavender Bones, Stand Atlantic, kicking it off with a bang. I mean, it's an off the charts. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean, that's the one of the few songs on this playlist that I know and love and put on this deliberately, right? Like, this is great. It's such a catchy and melodic kind of throwback pop punk song. It's got all the attitudes of sort of like, you know, mid 2000s pop punk, while feeling like it's fresh and new, and you know, it fits in but also stands out. I think Bonnie's voice is really strong, and it's not too showy, but it just like works perfectly well. It's very like straightforward, to the point. There's a new layer introduced with like each section of the song, right? With those like clean guitar arpeggios in the first part of the second verse. It's a tale as old as time as far as pop punk songs go, but it just, the melody oozes out, and including the picked guitar leads throughout. You know, if the vocals aren't going to get in your head, the guitar will, or even the bridge will. Like it's designed to be perfectly catchy all the way through the repetitive. I can cover it up. I can cover it up. Like, that's going to stick into your head because it's so simple to remember, but also like it's relatable. It's like extremely major key happy song, and yet like has this nuanced emotional core to it. Really awesome track. Excuse me. Yeah, this is kind of what started it all for me. and for many Stand Atlantic fans, this is off their first album, I believe, and it really helped kick them off. The interesting thing, so our next song from them is going to be one of their more recent singles that they released. And I'm going to go back to the track list for a second. Nope, just kidding. This is just them. There's a couple songs they've released that were featuring a bunch of people, but this one is just going to be them. I know that with their second album, they kind of started introducing a bit more electronic production, a bit more electronic sound. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to push in that direction. Oh, real quick, also, I meant to mention this at the top, but I don't typically. These days, I haven't been doing a lot of research coming into this, right? Like I assembled a playlist very deliberately, with a mix of stuff I know and stuff I don't. But even with the stuff that I know, I haven't done a whole lot of like research or refreshers on the details or the information. So I'm about to move in a couple weeks, and so I just like haven't had the time to deep dive on a lot of these artists. So not only am I coming in blind, I'm also coming in pretty ignorant as far as what this stuff is going to be. Um, one thing I did look up for each artist is their monthly listener count on Spotify. Stand Atlantic is doing pretty well for themselves. They're definitely on an upward trajectory. They're at 914,000. That's for pop punk. That is good. So let's see their more recent single, Killer.
What the fuck is wrong with me? Naked face, sanity, strip my personality, getting high after fed. The fuck is wrong with me? Got me running low on self-esteem, treat me like a little amphetamine. The fuck is wrong with me? I'm naked face, sanity. I'm a killer, killer, killer. Sinking dirty teeth in swallowing cinnamon. I'm a killer, killer, killer. Got a little taste of my own medicine. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Sinking dirty teeth in swallowing cinnamon. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Shivering in cold eyes, pretend I don't mind. Pleading for my life, wish I was out of sight, sight. The fuck is wrong with my mind? Got me running low on self-esteem, treat me like a little amphetamine. What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm naked for your sanity. I'm a killer, killer, killer. Sinking dirty teeth in swallowing cinnamon. I'm a killer, killer, killer. Got a little taste
Gun
of my
sounds.
own medicine. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Sinking dirty teeth in swallowing cinnamon. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Got a little taste of my own medicine. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Sinking dirty teeth in swallowing cinnamon. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. Got me running low on self-esteem, treat me like a little amphetamine. I'm naked for your sanity. I'm a killer, I'm a killer. I'm a killer, killer, killer. I'm a killer, I'm a killer.
All right. That was Kill Bracket, her, Killer, Stand Atlantic. For me, that one is arresting. You know, not quite as, doesn't get the blood pumping quite as much as Lavender Bones does. But that being said, I think it's a really intriguing direction for them, right? So we talked about how they might be moving more electronic. And I haven't heard this song before. You heard that immediately in the vocals. The vocals sound a lot more processed, and eventually we get a little bit of sort of programmed drums. I hesitate to call them 808s per se, but a little bit more of those, like a brief interlude of trap drums for a second. Also, the the gun sound effects. This is like the fifth time that we've encountered a gun sound effect. I feel like we need a counter for that on this channel. But why, man? I mean, it's kind of fun for this because it's the chorus killer. I guess like it fits in. And this isn't trying to take itself so seriously as a song, so I feel like it's acceptable here. But yeah, I think this is like a really good marker of what makes Stand Atlantic stand out. It retains the pop punk sensibility, and you definitely get that. There's like a sick little guitar run towards the end of this, and the way that those guitars kind of like come in and out of the chorus, the syncopation there, I think is really quite effective musically. But obviously they push into electronic production and electronic sensibilities too, more contemporary sounding stuff, just enough, right? Where it doesn't sound like they are completely reinventing themselves or losing their core, but kind of just applying their core in a new direction. And I think that makes me really excited for what comes next from them. I do think that lyrically, this doesn't do a whole lot for me. Swallowing cinnamon, sink your dirty teeth and swallowing cinnamon. I definitely didn't think a cinnamon challenge reference would be on the docket this week. And like, it's an effective image, but it also like, I'm a killer. So is it like, it's self-inflicted, I assume is sort of the implication here of like who's being killed and who's the target. But yeah, it doesn't quite line up. It's not as personal. It's not as like nuanced and effective as Lavender Bones, I believe. That being said, pretty good. I'm excited for the next album cycle. So let's move on from there. We got our next band up, which is Paris. And not Pervis. Paris has 2 million concurrent monthly listeners on Spotify, so pretty dang big. 2 million. They just played in Philly this past weekend. I didn't go, but it was sold out at the Theater of the Living Arts, TLA, which is pretty cool. Paris is interesting. They used to be a band, and now they're effectively a solo project of front woman Lynn Gunn. And their sound has changed quite a bit over the years. So we're going to start with My House, which is from their first album. This is the Paris that I know and love. So let's check it out.
When I'm looking in, oh, who lets you in? You walk around like you own the place, but you never say anything. I caught you walking straight through my walls.
The lyrics don't line up.
I think I let you in. Never thought that I would feel like this. Such a mess when I'm in your presence. I had enough that you were making me sick. Gotta get you out of my system, yeah. It's my house, and I think it's time to get out. It's my soul, it isn't yours anymore. It's my house, I think it's time to get out. Yeah, I think it's time to get out. You're at my bedroom door. Heard your footsteps on the floor, closer than ever before. And now you're in my room. You're a cold air creeping through on sheets, avoiding you. You walk around, I can hear you pace. Circle in my bed frame. Oh, but now we're face to face. Head on my pillowcase, but don't let you can't stay. Never thought that I would feel like this. Such a mess when I'm in your presence. I had enough that you were making me sick. Gotta
All right, that was Paris with My House. Yeah, for me, I think that's an off the charts. I mean, again, I'm kind of cheating because I brought this deliberately to the playlist, but I just think it works so well. It's such an innovative combo of kind of pop dance music with pop punk. Um, and it just makes you want to dance. Those drums in the chorus, real like disco influenced, and I think that just makes you want to move your body, right? And I feel like that's really exciting. There's all these flourishes, these production flourishes that are mostly in an electronic or synth heavy realm. Like right off of the bat, the beginning, there are these really light harmonies that sound like they are from a vocoder, just having multiple layers of Lynn's vocals all stacked on top of each other, just lightly harmonizing in the background. And it's a beautiful, like, not overwrought touch that brings this pop sensibility to this song, this electronic pop sensibility. Um, it's like enough guitar to satisfy your pop punk craving while still being synth driven and like feels like it's a modern pop song, something that like, and then the in the bridge has all the vocals kind of like start to be filtered, and then the band kind of slowly swells in. It's like something that Halsey would do, and it just works. There's the drums in that bridge are awesome. One of the most analog sounding parts of the song is those drums in the bridge, and I just feel like it's a really compelling drum section. Not to mention the lyrics, the very, very simple but strong lyrics, those self-empowerment lyrics. I'm not yours anymore, it's my soul. It's just like sings on all levels to me, which is why the Paris that is present day Paris is a little bit more challenging for me. So the next song I don't, which is "Burn the Witch." I don't know if I've heard that. I in fact, let me take that back. I know I have heard this because I did recently, not too long ago, listen to all of Paris's albums again. But I struggle with newer Paris. It's not that it sounds bad to me necessarily. It's just more like I feel like they've lost kind of that core pop punk sensibility that is blended in with the electronic pop stuff. So I'm coming into this hoping that I will end up liking Burn the Witch more than I remember, if I even recognize it at all. Let's see. This is off of Paris's newest album, Oil and Water. Burn the Witch. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. I feel like it's arresting for me. It is not off the charts quite, but I don't mind that as much as I expected to. I mean, I feel like first of all, it's a lot more angry and driving than I expected. Um, Obviously the chorus is this really kind of upbeat, driving forward, um, couple lines, but even just the attitude of the verses, and it's very hip hop influenced, right? Way more so than pop punk, very hip hop forward. It's got a swagger and like some bite to it that I think is like really quite nice. Um, I think you could be my fuckable loner. Pussy tastes like liquor. Don't crucify my liver. I feel like there's some lyrics that kind of stand out as just like not being quite um in the same realm. I mean, it's not like complete left turn, right? I feel like it's just about it fits in a little bit with kind of being shamed potentially for embracing your sexuality. So I could see it work. A quick shout out to Tommy Genesis and Alice Long Yu Gao, two artists who I do not know really at all, but I assume that they're the ones taking turns on the or verses here. And I think there's a couple things that hold it back for me. One is like I don't find it to be as catchy as I might want, like the driving nature of the chorus. I don't expect that to stick in my head after this. And also that like there's that like mustard on the beat section, where there's just you get the hey, hey, hey kind of like in the background of some of this, which is a little cheesy, I think. Um, yeah, so it's like didn't blow my socks off, but it definitely I think is worthwhile as far as the track goes. Okay, so next up we've got Census Fail, and in this one we've got two songs from the same album, Pull the Thorns from Your Heart. Now this, if you're watching along at home, this is I forgot to put up the album cover for the last Paris song. Dang it. Well, moving through that, Census Fail, Pull the Thorns from Your Heart. This is their sixth album, I want to say. Is it their fifth album or sixth album? It is their sixth album, released in 2015. Census Fail is a band that when they came out, like onto the scene with Let It Enfold You and Still Searching, I was listening then. I mean, that's when they were blowing up, right? Like, I feel like they were awesome when they were coming onto the scene, but I kind of like lost track, like most artists in the late 2010s, like mid 2000s, late 2010s. I kind of stopped listening to scene music and kind of shifted a little bit more into the metal world for a little bit. Um, and in doing so, I missed this whole era of Census Fail. I missed Renaissance. I missed this. The album came after it. I missed The Fire, I believe, as well. Just like didn't see it. So at some point during the pandemic, I found Census Fail again, with actually the album that came after this. If there is a light, it will find you. And I totally, because I had missed this section of their career, I missed the fact that Buddy Nielsen, the lead singer, came out as bisexual. And I had no idea. And that really blew my mind because I think of most scene music and just like heavier music in general, the heavier music scene, I think of as kind of being like a little bit machismo and exclusionary and actually not that welcoming at the end of the day. Maybe that's because I was living in the metal realm for a while, but it just seemed like, oh, this was a scene hero, a central figure to the scene who had been there, from the beginning, suddenly making a revelation about his life that felt like pretty significant. And so to me, n- I was not out yet, so I am bisexual as well, but I didn't come out until 2020, I believe it was, maybe 2021, but like 2020 ish, late 2020. So when I discovered this about Buddy, I was like really taken aback. He had a wife, he had kids. He had, to my knowledge, never been like publicly with a man or anything. And so that really started to speak to me in my journey. And then I heard this album and it really spoke to me quite a bit. Um, Basically, I feel like this whole album is about Buddy's coming out process, in so many words, right? Like there's a lot of spirituality in this album. There's a lot of pain in this album, but it really is kind of, in my reading of it, about his process of like coming to terms, coming out, coming to terms with his sex addiction that I believe he had as well, and really like embracing himself for who he was. And when I heard that in 2020, it really struck a nerve for me because I had known that I was bi since high school, right? Like I was crushing on and attracted to a friend of mine and his girlfriend at the same time, and nothing became of either of those things, but it was mostly kept quiet in my mind because it still wasn't safe. It really didn't feel safe to come out at that time. And then from that point on, I just only ever dated women, and I loved it. That's not a bad thing either. In general, that fit what I was trying to do with my life. But I think the longer time went on, the more this pressure felt of like, oh, there's like, I'm not actually embracing my whole identity. So cut to listening to Pull the Thorns from Your Heart, and I was just like, it spoke to me in a way that really put me at ease with what I needed to do, which was to start coming out to my friends and to a lesser extent my family, and try to, be out there in the world and say that like, yeah, I am bi, and it's okay if this is really late in life, and it's okay if I'm dating or trying to date women, and it doesn't matter. It matters that I'm speaking the truth about who I am as a person. Um, so with that in mind, let's dive into it. This is Pull the Thorns from Your Heart. There we go. Pull the thorns from your heart. I mean, you know what I'm going to say. That's an off the charts, obviously. Uh, it's a shame because this is an album that I'm pretty sure the fans do not like. At least the cursory research that I did before this, um, definitely among the lowest fan ratings, and I can't tell if that's homophobia. I don't. It doesn't quite feel like that to me. It feels more just like they don't like the direction of the sound and they don't like the lyrics. So it's like, you know, a little bit of distaste for musical evolution and a little bit of closed mindedness, maybe. But regardless, this song changed everything for me, and I can't thank Buddy and Census Fail enough for it. It's like this whole album and the previous one a little bit is way heavier for them than their typical fare. It's like way more. It leans into sort of like a little bit more hardcore, a lot more sludge in this sludge metal, just like especially that end section, that real sludgy, slow riff. I think is very different for them, and I love that. I feel like that just makes it gives me the stank face. It's so thick and juicy. Um, but this song has everything. It morphs all around. You got some two step sections. The that like weird, slower, echoey section. It's very dissonant and like entrancing almost. I know Buddy wanted to write a lot about spirituality in this too, and I feel like just that sound like captures that. This almost this feeling of like the voices in your head or like swimming in like being surrounded by sound, which is really awesome. I am not the biggest fan of the guitar tone. I feel like the guitar tone is a little weak. Um, Mostly, I think it kind of still works, but it's like oddly, it's like overdriven. It's oddly like clear, and so it's sometimes whenever they try to have a distorted noise, like to accent some of these lines, it doesn't come across as harsh as maybe I want it to. But the big thing to talk about is the lyrics, right? Like Buddy is a controversial lyricist in the sense of um, he is extremely direct a lot of the times, um, a little bit confessional, and it doesn't always work, right? In this song, I love it. There's like this section here. It's so on the nose. I fucking hated myself, so I abused my soul, my heart, my body for the sexuality I didn't choose. That's laying it right there, right in front of you, what this song is about, why it's important to sing it. And I think in this context, I am 100% here for it. It, again, laying it so clearly out on the table in front of you meant that for me, as someone who missed the whole conversation about Buddy coming out, I was like, oh my God, it made me grip the table. I was like, holy shit, is this about himself? And inspired me to look more into what had been going on in his life. And I just think that's awesome. And it's brave and it's bold. And it sits right next to, imagery. Pull the thorns from your heart. I mean, like, heart being a rose, thorns in a heart, whatever it is, these are maybe like not the most nuanced metaphors, but I think it's awesome to have imagery like that next to the real like clear and obvious sentiment. And then the end, I will not die in shame. That chant, repeating that twice, that like also really drilled into my head when I heard this song for the first time. It was just like such an important rallying cry. And especially at the time when I listened to it, which was in 2020, when it seemed like maybe I will die soon. The world is like melting down from pandemics and protest and government suppression and all kinds of stuff. It was like, yeah, it is important for me to not die in shame or whatever, however I wanted to take that. So, yeah, this is like one of the most important songs of my entire life, basically, I would say. And with that being said, let's move on to another song from this album. Not nearly as important as this one to me, but My Fear of an Unlived Life. I should also mention they have 868,000 monthly listeners. Pretty popular. Half as popular as Paris, though.
We all struggle to breathe. Sometimes we all just wanna feel alive.
The noise washes over us and fades out. And that's, if you couldn't tell, that's the closing song on the album. And so for me, that's arresting. I think it's really, to me, I do really enjoy this song as the closing track of this album, given the emotional journey that it takes us on and the content inside of it. I do find that, this notion of love given stays with you, and that you have to just you have to live life. I find that to be a nice, that's a very poignant end to the album. I think it's fitting. But as a song in and of itself, it's a very slow burn. It's a slow build. It maybe only jumps. It has like maybe three sections, three different like evolutions. And I do like the screams at the end. I feel like are very strong. I feel like those are very rich, emotive screams. But I don't think it goes enough places to like stand alone very much on it as a song on its own, stand alone as a song. It's not my favorite lyrically either. There's nothing sadder than an unlived life. I feel like is a little specific, and like it is a little too conversational for my ear. But that being said, also, my actions remain as being like a mantra. It's weirdly like impersonal, despite how personal everything else is. I feel like that phrase is weirdly impersonal. So it's not my favorite lyrically, but I do say that the earnestness of Buddy's writing here does connect with me specifically, and I will side with earnestness, 9 times out of 10. I literally made a theater solo performance. My first professional, like charged money for theater event was called Earnestness #2. And it was like this embodiment of performance art piece of trying to embody what it means to be earnest and stuff. So yeah, I'm all for that, but not as strong as Pull the Thorns from Your Heart. That being said, this album, man, I feel like it gets a bad rap. It's not that people like, I don't know. It doesn't. I think this is a real peak for them. Renaissance as well, which is the previous album to this, represents a real creative peak for them. I love their old stuff. I love their early stuff. And I actually really like If There's a Light It Will Find You. I feel like that's kind of a maligned album, but I love that album. But I feel like this represents a phase of experimentation, a phase of differentiation, and just a real bold, brazen reinvention that then they kind of slide away from and almost pretend like it never happened, right? With their preceding albums. I would give this a listen, and Renaissance, give it another listen, give it another chance. Come back to it. All right, let's move on. Census Fail. We're done with you, Census Fail. We're going to move on to a band called Penny Board. Not Penny Board like a skateboard, but Penny Board. This is someone who is, as a solo project, someone who has 2.5 thousand monthly listeners. This is the smallest artist we maybe have ever covered on the Pulse of Music. And I am really excited about that. Let's boost them up. Let's give Penny Board a listen. This is Summer Days. I don't think there are any lyrics available. Yeah, and I don't have any lyrics for this at all. So we'll just have to listen to it.
I should be having fun. Mid-20s thought I'd have it figured out. Now I'm filled with doubt. Can't keep a plan alive. Tell everyone that I am doing fine. I can barely meet my deadlines.
All right. Short and sweet. That was Penny Board with Summer Days. It's arresting for me. I feel like that shows a lot of promise for this artist. I really love those dreamy guitars, that dreamy guitar tone that kind of floats above it all in the beginning. I find their voice to be very gentle and almost like kind sounding, right? Like this, their voice makes me happy. Um, I do like that synth melody that goes in the background of the chorus. Ooh, if uh, that feels really joyous. It's just like a summery pop punk song. I mean, it's like it is too short. Um, I feel like there's enough meat there to develop that idea a little bit more. Um, and the drums, we need to bring those drums out in the mix. I need more punch from the drums. But like on a whole, I don't think anyone can be mad at that. It's totally reasonable, enjoyable. Um, night. It's nice outside and a little breeze going, sort of pop song. Let's go to Karma next, and I do have the lyrics for this. Yeah, there we go. This is a newer song off of an upcoming, I think it's upcoming. It's either out or upcoming album. So let's check it out.
Make it look pretty with the flowers underneath. Smiling back at me with lies behind your teeth. You had your chance, take one last glance. You always said you'd change. Quit saving face and dig your grave. Just admit you're fake. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. This is one choice I won't regret. Caught in twisted lies. Now get out of my life. You can't hide. Cross the line. Let karma eat you alive. Go ahead and apologize for the 1,000th time. You fabricated your whole world. I'm drowning in your lies. You had your chance, take one last glance. You always said you'd change. Quit saving face and dig your grave. Just admit you're fake. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. This is one choice I won't regret. Caught in twisted lies. Now get out of my life. You can't hide. You've crossed the line. Let karma eat you alive. All you wanna do is break me, but I'm not gonna let you shake me. You twisted words and sacrifices. Friendship that was all a lie. Stand the fact that someone's better. Fake support and false endeavors. Heard it through the grapevine. Say you're mad, well get in line. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. This is one choice I won't regret. Caught in twisted lies. Now get out of my life. You can't hide. You've crossed the line. Let karma eat you alive.
Nice. Karma by Penny Board. Um, I think that's arresting for me. It definitely shows promise though, right? I feel like this fits in with Stand Atlantic, more modern Stand Atlantic, I would say, like second album era, for sure, because there's like a little bit of that push and pull between pop punk and electronic stuff. And it definitely hits harder right out of the gate than Summer Days, which I really like that dichotomy, right? Of Summer Days kind of being this floaty, dreamy thing, and this being a little bit more direct, driving pop punk song. Um, I like the drums also; they're more present. I asked for it, and they definitely delivered. Um, The vocals this time though sound a little tinny. Like I know that they're supposed to be an electronic processing sort of on the "Let Karma Eat You Alive" last line of the chorus, but prior to that in the chorus and a little bit elsewhere, I kind of hear like a little it's a little tinny, a little like over processed sound rather than kind of sitting above everything else. And I say the main complaint I have with this is like the lyrics are just kind of generic, right? Like karma's a bitch, and there's some venom, but this doesn't sound like that specific of this is not a specific enough takedown. Oh, sorry, I should have had this up. Not a specific enough takedown for my taste, right? Like the Paris song "Burn the Witch" I think had a little bit more of that intentional specificity, and this could be written about anyone, anywhere, and I think that that's not necessarily a selling point. But that was Penny Board. Let's keep it rolling. We got Like Pacific up next, and we're gonna start with "Had It Coming." Like Pacific has 37,000 monthly listeners, which is less than I expected, but it's still perfectly respectable.
Useless, nervous, but tasteful. Whatever happened to graceful judgment, patience? How did I do you wrong? But I guess I didn't listen. And you will always be useless, nervous, but tasteful. Whatever happened to graceful judgment, patience? How did I do you? Don't you listen to him? The best advice that I've been given. But I guess I didn't listen. And you will always be useless, nervous, but tasteful. Whatever happened to graceful judgment, patience? How did I do you wrong?
Yeah, that's Like Pacific with "Had It Coming." And you know what they've got coming to them right now? An off the charts rating. That is right. I think that's great. This is great. This is like fits right in with sort of Bearings and Knuckle Puck and In Her Own Words. Those are the bands that I kind of come to mind when I listen to this, in nothing but the best way. Like the way that the vocalist, whose name is Jordan, the way that Jordan's voice breaks up in the verses sounds great and authentic and emotional, but also clear. I love how the intro introduces the chorus. I mean, that's like certainly not something that they created, right? But I love that they introduce the chorus in the intro. And so then when it comes the first time, it's like, oh, I know this part. It's great. I can sing along. And I really, really like the kind of pairing of these three adjectives, you know? And you will always be useless, nervous, but tasteful. Whatever happened to graceful, judgment, patience. We've heard a couple songs on this stream that are like vocabulary, word salad songs. And to me, this sounds just like crafted writing, right? Like this is, I can feel the lyricism in a great way. And the way that he sings, don't you listen to him. I feel like that sounds so, it's such a unique timbre that comes out. I mean, it's well, I shouldn't say it's unique. It's not that it's like, you know, I never heard this type of voice before, but it just sounds like it's a really poppy, like front person, you know, like this could be on the radio. That chorus you could copy paste into a different song, and it's just like that's a summer song, a summer radio smash hit, really well sung, as well as the breaking up parts in the verses. That chorus is so well sung. A little bit of vibrato, a little bit of accent. It's like, that's solid. So let's see where they go from here on their newer song, Ketamine Jesus.
It's been a few years, I'm only seeing it now. We had a long run, you were never around. I kept my distance, but your persistence was key. I'm all alone now. I'm finally free! I kinda want to watch you burn just a bit. Another lesson learned, but what do I get? Watch me in the glass house, throw your stones and lash out. The lies roll off of your tongue, my head is spinning, I'm spun. It just get out of my fucking life. Careless and broken, just like you know that you are. Keep me breaking, help me forget that I'm upset by your time. I'm not caring about what used to be. I blocked everything out of my memory. Ignorance is bliss. I can't forget our history. Don't come back to me. I chose to leave when you weren't a part of me, and now I thrive off your misery. I've been out for worse, but you insisted on heartache. I can't reverse what you failed to have started. Careless and broken, just like you know that you are. Keep me brighten, help me forget that I'm upset by your time. I'm not caring about what used to be. I blocked everything out of my memory. Ignorance is bliss.
Okay, there we go. Ketamine Jesus, like Pacific. Yeah, that's a resting for me. That's definitely not as strong as the first song we listened to. Um, you can kind of tell it's a little more polished, just as far as the way that his voice stands out. There's a lot of clarity in the intro and in the clean singings in the verse, like a lot of clarity that stands out in the mix, really, really pushing that voice forward, which makes sense because I think that is the special sauce of this band. Um, I got a little bit of broadside in this one too. So these bands keep coming to me, bands that this sounds like, right? Like I think I've named like 3 or 4 different bands that this reminds me of, which I can't tell. I'm kind of stuck on that. You know, whenever you hear a band and it fits into a sound or it like kind of blends in amongst other bands, I'm not sure if that's a reason that they should be less popular because they sound more generic or diluted, or more popular, especially if those other bands are quite a bit more popular, or if they're doing a little bit better. I kind of want to run a little experiment here. Broadside, for instance, has 510. Yeah, they're over 10 times as popular as like Pacific. And Bearings, I mean, they just went on a really big tour. They're probably high up there too. Oh, no, okay, Bearings is double like Pacific. And in her own words, is also, it's almost a little less than 3 times as popular as like Pacific. So like, what the hell? Why are these guys not bigger? You know, I'm not saying this should be the biggest thing on the planet, but like, how are they not in entering those realms of popularity, those levels of popularity? You know, I think that they've really got something here. Like, it's not groundbreaking stuff per se, but I do think that Jordan's voice is really special, and the songwriting is catchy enough and specific enough. That the lyricism is specific enough too. Like this is like good kind of pop punk for when you're in your 20s. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. I feel like I'm surprised that they're not bigger. Well, that being said, let's move on. Let's go to Pupil Slicer next. So entering some heavy territory for the first time, potentially. Pupil Slicer is another teeny tiny band, bigger than Penny Board, but 10,000 monthly listeners. That's it. Just 10K. Let's hear what they got with Martyrs. A lot of atmosphere on this one. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Pupil Slicer Martyrs. Um, I feel like it's resting for me, but it really makes me eagerly await what comes next. Right. So first of all, vocals awesome, like such good range. I have no idea if it's one or two vocalists as far as like uh if there's someone taking the low guttural growls versus the like high screams. I don't know. Um, Regardless, they both sound great. And in particular, I think the kind of default, like the lead vocals, the screams there, really, really emotive, like really scary. You know, a lot of people scream. Screaming's not scary to me. I listen to heavy music. It's no big deal. But like, I think really like there's like an authenticity to what I'm hearing that's like really kind of scary. And that comes through in this little section that gets really quiet here, right? Between You're Not Me, right after You're Not Me. There's that that's there you can hear just kind of, wordless screaming in the background. And it's something that we've heard Slipknot do, we've heard Paleface do, like at the beginning of their album Fear and Dagger, and it's really eerie and it's really freaky, and it feels very emotional, and like it makes you worried about them, about the vocalist. And I think that's really awesome. The distorted bass stands out, the angular kind of chromatic dissonant guitar riffs, a lot of like real rapid slides, riffs that are just like really rapid slide riffs, which are it's a very unique that's a very unique approach to riffs. Just makes it sound, again, it kind of like throws you off balance, is what this song seems to have done. I think the only reason why it doesn't rise to an off the charts for me is just because like it just doesn't fit my taste. A lot of that angular stuff I think is super cool, but I like want something to like latch onto, and my brain struggles to like latch onto anything in the song specifically. But I will say, so for the next song that we're about to hear, this like glitchy part right after, at the end of this first verse, totally threw me off. And I really want more of that. Like that kind of stuck out in this song as like not something that was so obvious, like nothing that never came back, that motif or that idea of like glitchy production. But I want more of that. I want to be thrown the fuck off by glitchiness. So let's see if their next song can do that to us. Blossom. This is my prediction for best song of the night. Let's hear it.
We're
Okay. Blossom by Pupil Slicer. For me, it's arresting. Not my favorite thing I heard tonight, so I was wrong about that. But first, the bass. Oh my God, the bass the whole time comes in real strong, sits real loud in the mix in a great way. Just throughout, the bass is so thick and complex and like a little bit funky, and it's just doing the most in exactly the right way, standing out so well. And then secondary shout out to that guitar solo, just a little shred break in the middle of there that honestly felt so refreshing and really gave me a lot of joy. So bass, bass and guitar solo, they definitely deserve an ovation for that. Like that was awesome. Um, the whole thing obviously so much more melodic than what we heard before. Like this almost was like a prog rock song, you know. It's like had like kind of a prog rock song structure, and just had a couple screaming sections in there is all that I would say felt different. um I thought the clean vocals were decent, not as strong as the screams at all, and the upper register of the vocals kind of falls flat. You heard that at the end a little bit. You'll never see me fly. That like fly uh, doesn't feel as doesn't feel like it has as much support as I want to. It almost kind of like dissipates and loses its effectiveness. Um, the lyrical approach is way different here too, right? Like this is a lot more this feels a lot more simple, um personal, kind of, as far as like uh at least a little bit more this is more inward, right? I mean, of course there is speaking to a you and a you, but this feels like it's dealing with a little bit more below the surface emotions. The previous song was a little bit more explosive songwriting wise. Previous song also used a lot more vocab words and definitely felt like it was a little overwritten lyrically, whereas this is like pulled back and simpler. And I think that that's actually relatively effective. Um, but the screams, even in this context, the screams were not as raw or as scary. You know, I did miss the angular, chaotic riffage. I missed the just like raw, terrifying screams of that first album. I want these. I want these guys to split the difference between the two. You know, I want them to preserve some of the accessibility and musicianship. Not that the other song wasn't musicianful, wasn't like musically interesting, but like preserve the accessible musicianship of this song and combine it with the chaotic uh, terror of the previous song. How can those worlds exist simultaneously? Like that's what I want. You know, I think that would be perfect, and it means I got to listen to more of them. I feel like there's a real interesting world here, even if we still haven't quite gotten there in my book with this song. Um, yeah, Pupil Slicer, very intriguing. So we're on to our last band of the night, which is Honey Revenge. Honey Revenge is a band that I have seen, I think, 3 times. I wore their shirt last week. I just absolutely adore them. They are from LA, and officially they're just a duo, but they tend to tour with the same musicians, I'm pretty sure. Um, Honey Revenge is just like one of those bands that I go back to every month. I'll be like, you know what, I just need to listen to Retrovision again. Just like put on the whole album and like sing every single track like to the top of my lungs and really jam out to them. I think they're so fun. Extremely accessible poppy sound, but I think that they retain enough of that like juice, that kind of like pop punk juice for my taste too. So let's get it kicked off with a song from Retrovision, and kind of their big single that kind of put them on the map, so to speak. Airhead.
Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Man, I'm really brain dead, I don't see the signs. I'm stupid, I'm unconscious, do I have no stopping? Excuse me as I take it to the extreme, yeah. I don't think I'm just acting impulsively. Running too fast, but with two left feet. Tell me wait it out, I don't know what that means. Every thought I have screaming, oh God. Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Man, I'm really brain dead, I don't see the signs. I'm stupid, I'm unconscious, do I have no stopping? Skull's empty, I say dumb things that I don't mean. When I don't take the time to breathe, no control on alt delete. Logic couldn't cut it, no logic couldn't come. I never invited, I guess I like being dumb. Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Man, I'm really brain dead, I don't see the signs. I'm stupid, I'm unconscious, do I have no stopping? Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Man, I'm really brain dead, I don't see the signs. I'm stupid, I'm unconscious, do I have no stopping? Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Man, I'm really brain dead, I don't see the signs. I'm stupid, I'm unconscious, do I have no stopping?
Airhead, Honey Revenge. You already know it's an off the charts. I'm bringing them to the table this week. I'm coming in biased as hell. It's what I like, y'all. I mean, yeah, it's just melodic as hell, right? Like the guitar is the heartbeat of the song, this song in particular, and many of their other songs, I would say as well. It's the heartbeat in the sense of that, like, really shimmery, slightly shimmery, clean verse chord tone. It has that funk attitude to it. And then just whenever they flip on the distortion, it retains that kind of like funk rhythm, funky disco-y sort of sensibility. And then I love the little smooth kind of legato runs where the guitar plays the vocal melody. I mean, that's something we've heard a million times, but like when the melody is good, when the melody's hitting, that's just such a tasty little thing. And I like how they do it, where they do play the melody, but then like add a little run onto it. So it's like one half of a callback, one half of a guitar solo, you know, it kind of allows musicianship to shine while also allowing the song itself to shine. I think it's great. Lyrically, it's like kind of, it's immature and internet aware in a way that I like. You know, it's like the no control, want to alt delete is cheeky, kind of silly, but I mean, I'm into it. I feel like it's that reference in particular is so like, it's like kind of, I feel like that's my generation's computer references. Like, I don't know how many people are doing Control Alt Delete these days. You know, does Gen Z know what that means? I don't know. The rest of the song feels very more towards Gen Z potentially, and then you have Control Alt Delete, and I'm like, well, that's what us kids who grew up with, like, you know, giant thick Toshiba laptops would have known about. So yeah, I just think it's really fun while being like a little bit cheeky. And that's kind of this whole band to me. You know, it's like it's just fun and catchy. And so with that being said, they just put out a new song a couple weeks ago. I mean, maybe more than that at this point. I don't know. I have also heard it because like being one of my top bands last year, of course I'm going to listen to what they put out this year. Let's go to it. Well, before we do, I didn't acknowledge actually when we started. Honey Revenge currently has 531,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. 531. So that's a lot. That's like now I'm like, is that correct actually? So that's like closing in on census fail even. I'm just gonna double check it. Yeah, 541. Yeah, they're blowing up right now. They're currently also on the Adobe Summer School tour. Maybe they're about to. I don't know if it started yet, which is a really freaking awesome tour. And I'm gonna see them on that again. That'll be, I think, my fourth time seeing them. Maybe third. I can't remember if it's third or fourth, but like, so fun. Such a fun band. Let's go to Recipe for Disaster.
Curious,
Lyrics.
curious where I'll be a year from now. If I'm ever gonna figure out how to keep my head out the clouds, gotta come down. Heart existing, constant shifting, consumed by how it could have been. Disappointing, unimportant, so much of it really is. I'm so worried, what's the hurry? I'm too short for skipping steps. Don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why I'm like this. Recipe for disaster, wondering what's gonna come after. Will I ever know? Do you? Do you? So serious, as if that makes it better somehow. Only as free as my mind allows. Need permission to stop freaking out. Give it to myself. Heart existing, constant shifting, consumed by how it could have been. Disappointing, unimportant, so much of it really is. I'm so worried, what's the hurry? I'm too short for skipping steps. Don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why I'm like this. Recipe for disaster, wondering what's gonna come after. Will I ever know? Do you? Do you? Don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why I'm so obsessed. Wish that I could worry less. Don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why I'm so obsessed. I wish that I could worry less. Recipe for disaster, wondering what's gonna come after. Will I ever know? Do you?
There we go. The new one, Recipe for Disaster. Yeah, I think for me it's tough because it sits like it's definitely not my favorite Honey Revenge song, but I still love it. And it's like almost like, all right, let's give it an off the charts. We'll give it an off the charts. It's not my favorite Honey Revenge song, but they have such a high ceiling for me. Like I love so many of their tracks that it's tough to compare to all the rest of them, you know, like it still makes me want to dance. It still makes me want to boogie. It's definitely way less, you know, pop punk influenced, way less kind of like harsh, way more dance, way more pop oriented, a lot more synth, real distinct house influence with that four to the floor beat kind of driving most of this song, and almost like talk sung verses and bridges. I feel like that's a little bit more influenced by house music. And then of course there's like the bridge feels like it's a disco song, you know, with those like um, upstroked guitars next to the four to the floor beat. Um, but yeah, like it's disco-y, it's housey, it's driving. It's got a very distinctly memorable melodic hook. Um, I think there's like it's a little bit wordy, but I think it works in the context of the song. Like it just keeps things moving. You know, it this feels like it's all built to just make you want to move. Um, and it's interesting because like you hear a song like this, and to me, well, first of all, this is what I want Nightlife to sound like. We listened to Nightlife a couple weeks ago. Um, I thought it would be like this, and it wasn't. And then the other thing is like it's interesting when if you hear this, it doesn't strike you as scene music, right? Like if my whole thing is like music that's scene and scene adjacent, and that I deliberately take a very wide net for what that means to me, both on the heavy side and the pop side. Like this is basically, if you really want to boil it down, it is a pop song, you know? Um, and they tour, Honey Revenge tours with people who are definitively like in the scene, you know? Like this Adobe Summer School tour is like uh the home team, Scene Queen, Magnolia Park. And there's a couple other people I know I'm missing, but like it's people who are pretty unequivocally making music that you would consider to be scene music at this point, for what that means today. But this is pop. So what it speaks to a really awesome, to me, pretty awesome thing happening in, you know, alternative music now, which is like we're not worried about a specific sound as being like selling out or not authentic. Like Honey Revenge has been like touring like crazy. They've been touring with like very you know, up and coming bigger acts that people that are pretty respected, and like they sound like they're making radio pop, but no one thinks that they're phony or don't belong, you know? Like they absolutely do belong, and I think it's rad. It really like stretches the net of what is considered scene music or what you're going to hear if you go to a concert, and what it's okay to like, you know? Um, it's a lot more okay, I think, today to like music like this and metalcore at the same time than it was when I was growing up. And I think that's just like so awesome. So that concludes the stream. Honey Revenge, closing us on a wonderful note. Thank you for tuning in today to end Pride Month. Totally appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe to me on YouTube, but also on all my social media accounts at The Pulse of Music. You'll definitely get notifications for upcoming streams and what's coming next. As far as what's coming next for the channel now, next week we'll be back Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a bit of a different format next week. Next week we're doing a now versus then stream. And we're doing it with The Story So Far. So what that means is we're going to listen to The Story So Far's first album, Under Soil and Dirt, and treat that like we did like we used to treat our old album review streams. We're going to really critically pay attention to it, see what it sounds like, and then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to listen to The Story So Far's newest album, which just came out not so long ago. It came out this past weekend, I believe. It came out on Friday. It's called "I Want to Disappear." We're going to listen to that album next, after we listen to Under Soil and Dirt, and kind of see what the evolution has been and what do we think of the new album, and specifically what do we think about it in context to where they came from. So I'm really excited for that. I think that'll be super cool. Very unique style of album reviews. Tune in, like, and subscribe. Make sure you get notified for when that's happening. Thanks for joining me tonight. And as always, my name is Josh, and I've got my finger on the pulse of music. Until next time.